Now at 5.
The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And as you mentioned, we begin this morning with a bit of snow.
A few inches of fluff here and there to start your day today. Yes, it might be on some roadways as well, but nonetheless, this is going to be winding down as we head throughout the morning. Let's take a look at the radar right now. Let's see how things are shaping up as you head out the door. Now, on the radar, it doesn't really look that impressive. Keep in mind, in some spots, it's coming down, I would say, somewhat decently as a frontal boundary is moving through. So, again, we have some of that lake enhancement, not as strong as maybe an early season type scenario, but nonetheless, it is still producing some snow-covered surfaces. If we take a look right here in downtown Utica, of course, some crews were out this morning plowing and treating the roadways. You had some side roads, however, which unfortunately for some reason I guess it didn't enable that graphic there, so you can't really see other roads. You know what, I'm going to do it behind the scenes here because why not? I want to show you guys what's going on across the area. This is the road condition camera map from across portions of the area. As you can see here, you got some snow-covered surfaces heading down to Herkimer, into Sangerfield. In downtown Utica, the arterial is a bit more plowed, especially here in Utica, especially up north. Barneveld is mainly clear. A lot of that snowfall passing south of that region. Now, temperatures are in the teens this morning. We are expecting to see them remain somewhat consistent today. Highs in the low 20s. Wind chills will remain in the teens as well today, so it's not going to warm up all that much. We're going to be dealing with mostly cloudy skies. The snow tapers off, and then we're entering a pretty quiet stretch of weather. As you look ahead to the next few days when it comes to snow chances, we are expecting the arrival of more snow again on Friday, bringing an Arctic blast this weekend. We do have some new updates on that snowfall Friday. The details coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Authorities in Arizona are investigating possible.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Wednesday morning. Time now is 5:13, and here's a look at what you can expect as you head out to work early today in your forecast in a minute. So far this morning, we are tracking some lingering lake-enhanced snow, enough to drop inch, 2, maybe even 3 inches in some parts of the area. But either way, light snow, 18 degrees, feels like 7 this morning, so it's definitely not feeling very warm out. And what are we tracking? Well, again, we have some lingering snow early today. This will gradually taper off as that wind direction shifts a little bit and the temperatures climb. On top of that, it looks pretty quiet in terms of anything snow-related, at least through the rest of today and until much of Friday. And I was looking at the data this morning, and things are trending a bit less snowy, at least when it comes to accumulating snow. Friday, I'll explain why that is coming up in a few minutes. But at least for now, here's a look at road conditions heading out the door this morning. And that fluffy snow, of course, causing some potential impacts to travel early today. So budget some extra time. We can see that band of snow passing through sections of the Mohawk Valley early today, enough to coat some surfaces with inch, 2, maybe even 3 inches of fluff. So just plan accordingly as you head out to work today. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Winter Olympics are almost here.
Tracker 2 team, where we track storms. The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody, on this Wednesday. A happy hump day. We begin this morning with at least a couple of inches of fluff on some surfaces from some overnight snow showers. And we look at the radar and satellite. This was from a passing cold front that is exiting to our east. So overall, while we're still seeing some lingering flurries this morning, the snowfall activity will be winding down over the next few hours. On the Yorkville Battery Live radar, again, it's one of those scenarios where you don't quite see a lot on the radar scans, but the snow is still falling in some sections of the area, thanks to social media. When we put out our notification of this snowfall. We had a report of 3 inches in Rome, at least personally at an inch or two south of Utica. But again, this is a fluffy snow. It took me maybe 30 seconds to brush it off my car. So it's not sticking like anything, and sure enough, before you know it, your car is already clear of any additional snowfall. Besides the snow we saw last night, here's a look at our latest snowfall numbers here. We are still at 95.7 inches to date, 35.9 inches above normal right now. So we are still, in fact, 0.2 inches above our typical seasonal snowfall so far. So we're already in the positives. We're already above average. So our above average prediction this winter has verified, but just how much more above average can we go? Well, only time will tell. We do have alert days, Saturday and Sunday. I do want to start emphasizing a bit more on this weekend as we get a bit closer here. Frigid temperatures and wind chills likely remaining either in the single digits or below zero for the entire duration of the weekend, along with, of course, windy weather. So it's one of those weekends like what we saw, in at least recently, that you're going to want to make sure you bundle up, make sure the pets are indoors, and make sure your kids are, of course, bundled up as well. So the bigger picture shows overall relatively quiet conditions until Friday. And here's what I mean by the snowfall is trending lighter Friday. See that energy, that low pressure gliding down along the jet stream here? That's shifting south of us. So we're not going to see the main brunt of this Clipper system. It's passing south. So we're going to see just a cold front producing a few snow showers, which will not amount to as much as that said Clipper system here. But in the meantime, our Skycast showing cloudy skies following this afternoon. Overall, quiet weather, maybe a few flurries, but nothing impressive or accumulating between, again, this afternoon through the middle of Friday. That snowfall is trending to arrive Friday evening after sunset, and again, it is trending on the lighter side. So I'm a bit less concerned about impacts for Friday, of course, as much as this weekend's bitter cold temperatures will provide us with those overnight lows in the negative double digits. We'll be right back.
Morning once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. Snow continues to come down here in our area, but for how much longer? Meteorologist Eric Gage over in the Weather Center with the answer. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Gary. Yeah, it's a bit of a snowy start to your day today. An inch or two of fluff on the ground, and we're looking at the radar here, and we do have some more snow falling at this hour. Let's take a look right now. We have at least a few more narrow bands here pushing through the area. Again, a lot of this is falling very close to the ground, so it's very difficult to kind of see some of these snow bands, but nonetheless, of course, we know it is snowing. Behind me, we have cameras that indicate to us where that snow is falling on some surfaces, and nonetheless, is about maybe an inch or two of fluff. Some spots, maybe 3 inches, but nonetheless, fluffy snow to start your day. Roadways are continuing to improve. Crews are out this morning, plowing, treating, sanding, you name it, to make sure the roads are going to be a lot safer early today. But again, if you're heading out this morning, just budget some extra time, both brushing off your car and just in case you head on any roads that still might have some snow on them. It's just plan that accordingly today, because by this afternoon, the temperatures will climb and the snow will begin to taper off as this lake enhancement ends. The key here, of course, to lake effect is you need cold temperatures and at least some warmer lake waters. If you increase that temperature part, well, the lake effect fizzles out. So you can see here, temperatures are in the teens to start your day today. As we head throughout the afternoon, we're going to see highs climb only into the low to mid 20s with mostly cloudy skies and pretty dry weather lingering through much of the rest of the work week. We are tracking some snowfall on Friday, but there's some updates to that snowfall forecast. We'll dive into that here in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump has long pushed...
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery in Delhi.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Wednesday morning. Our photo of the day today is an amazing shot sent in to us by a frequent submitter, John. And not only that, but this is a shot of Gore Mountain, and just look at the beauty of this snowy scene in the high peaks areas here in New York State, out in the distance there. And anytime I see photos like this, any time of the year, but especially in wintertime when you have these beautiful scenes here, it's something interesting, the fact that where we live right now, we are just a few-hour drive away from scenes like this. And it goes to show you just how beautiful New York State is in general, and all the various locations you can go to. You know, you got Niagara Falls out west, Finger Lakes, the Mohawk Valley, the Adirondacks, the Catskills, the Hudson Valley. Not a whole lot of other states can brag about those different areas, and especially the Adirondacks, which is downright gorgeous. So shout out to John, and a beautiful scene there of Gore Mountain and the snowmaking, which was causing some of that low-level fog down there. If you have a photo like this you'd like to send to us, WKTV.com/weather/pics is a place to go for that. Your photo of the day every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. And now, again, today we have a few lingering snow showers. It does quiet down a little bit. Snow arrives late Friday, and then the weekend, you can see here, very cold, wind chills, extremely cold, downright Arctic. We'll dive into those wind chills as well as the latest trends for Friday's snow coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. American alpine skiing legend Lindsey Vonn.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. All of you tuning in this morning might be dealing with some snowfall, at least maybe an inch or two of fluff on some surfaces early today. And we are still tracking a few more snow showers this morning that are ending at least for maybe the next few hours here. Let's take a look at the radar and satellite, and we can see this lingering snowfall pushing through much of the area right now. And I mean, I'm looking at the latest cameras across New York State, and the snowfall activity is a lot weaker than it was, say, a few hours ago. So additional snowfall, it will be less, or at least impactful. And of course, a lot of crews heading out this morning. Roads will continue to improve travel-wise. But either way, that's about as much of the snowfalls we're going to see, at least until maybe the earliest Friday afternoon. So while things begin to quiet down, here's a quick recap of our season snowfall total so far in Utica. 95.7 inches a day. Our season average at 95.5. So our winter is already above average, and we're already potentially going to continue to see even higher totals as we head toward the rest of the year. I doubt winter time will be ending anytime soon. There are some trends pointing to a warm-up in mid to late February, but still, snowfall not out of the woods just yet. And on top of that, we do have some cold on the way, especially this weekend. Another Arctic blast with a cold front producing frigid wind chills. Overnight lows well below zero. In fact, -10 to -15. Wind chills likely in the -20+ degree range there too. So with the windy weather possible, again, another weekend, we're going to make sure you want to find ways to stay warm and make sure, of course, the kids are bundled up and the pets are inside. So the bigger picture shows a couple of things that have changed over the next couple of days. More notably has been this cold front, or at least Clipper system I mentioned earlier this week, which had the potential of producing impactful snow here on Friday. Now, the actual area of energy, this ball of low pressure, is actually sliding its way south of central New York. So that's where much of that snow will be falling. So the actual front that moves in Friday will be a bit weaker. So basically, just less snowfall expected Friday, and that mainly happens Friday night. In the meantime, today, lake effect winds down. We could see a few glimpses of sunshine, otherwise mostly cloudy skies, and this trend continues until the end of Friday afternoon, before we are expecting some of that snowfall Friday night, and then some lake effect early Saturday, and some bitter cold temperatures. Wind chills likely below zero for the entire weekend before we warm up back into the teens and 20s by early next week. We'll be right back.
News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And everybody beginning with a little bit of snow this morning. It's light, though.
Yeah, a little bit of fluff that should be easy to brush off this morning. Probably took maybe 30 seconds maximum. Just swept my windshield and it was already gone. But yes, nonetheless, there is still a little bit of snow out there this morning. In fact, we look at the radar, we can see where that snow is at this point. And although it's not really getting picked up in the radar all too much, it is showing at least some lingering snowfall, which as we progress throughout the day today will continue to weaken, as at least the front that carried it is now pushing its way to the east. So overall this morning, expect at least some lingering flurries, and at least for right now, an inch or two, in some spots 3, of some fluff on some surfaces, especially on your cars early today. Downtown Utica, you can see roadways continue to improve. Crews are out and about. In fact, you can see some of them out there right now, hard at work to clear out the roads for you guys today. So again, budget some time in case you live in some outlying roads that might take a little bit to get cleared. But literally in the time frame that I've been airing this morning, Route 12 and 20 have seen some significant improvements here. Same thing along the arterial as well, and heading down into Herkimer. So again, as we progress throughout the morning, roads will only continue to improve, and looking pretty quiet for at least the next several days. But nonetheless, it is still lightly snowing, so we're not out of the woods just yet in terms of measurable snowfall today. But following this morning's flurries this afternoon, we climb into the low to mid-20s under mostly cloudy skies, maybe a glimpse or two of some sunshine, but that might be the outlier here today. It's pretty dry heading into Friday. We do have some updates on snowfall for Friday, as well as the trend of that Arctic cold heading into the weekend. We'll be diving into that here in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Authorities in Arizona are investigating.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Time now 6:13. Good morning, everybody. On this Wednesday, we have a look at what you can expect heading out the door today in your forecast in a minute. And let's begin with a look at the current temperature, which right now is sitting at 17 degrees, a westerly wind of 12 miles an hour, bringing those feels like temperatures to 4 degrees. So the wind chill this morning, still very cold. On top of that, we're also tracking that light snow moving its way through the area. That's going to be still providing the opportunity for at least some fluffy snow in your cars as you get ready to head out this morning. So following this lingering snow, the snow will taper off in the morning to early afternoon, with cloudy skies and dry weather persisting for much of today, through tonight and into Friday, for much of Friday itself. In fact, Friday evening, when snow begins to arrive, it's trending a bit less snowy based off of the latest data we were looking at this morning. We'll, of course, dive into that here coming up in our full forecast momentarily. So this morning, with that fresh snowfall, obviously some side roads might have some slowdowns here and there. I do want to point out one location here. Along the thruway, there are accidents both in the eastbound lanes and in the westbound lanes. The westbound direction, right outside the Westmoreland exit, exit 32, now out toward exit 33. There's an accident in the eastbound direction. So if you're heading out from where we are to the Syracuse area, heading on the thruway any means to the west of Utica, just watch out for that accident there. A few lingering snow showers, as I'm showing you right now, will be exiting, and then we quiet down today with mostly cloudy skies and drier weather leading up till Friday. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Winter Olympics are almost here. We are now
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We begin today with some lingering snow showers, enough to coat some surfaces, especially your cars this morning. We look at the radar and satellite. We can see the passage of a cold front, which provided us with that driving factor producing that snowfall early today. Now, as that front continues eastward, the energy begins to weaken, and of course, this morning, the snowfall also begins to taper off. We can still see a little bit of it right now on the Yorkville Battery Live radar, mainly in the southern valleys, so we're not out of the blue just yet in terms of snowfall, but the highest totals are behind us, at least for the next couple of hours, and especially the next few days. Now, weather quiets down, we can take a step back again and still look at our season snowfall total, which again is just mind-blowing that since I've worked here, the first few years I worked here, we were just incredibly below average for snowfall. Last year, we got closer to average due to that lake effect. And this year, just the early season snow alone just catapulted us above average. We are now above our normal season snowfall total of 95.5 inches, which we're now at 95.7, and likely with the snowfall last night, maybe putting us up maybe an inch, maybe two, above that number right now. So again, this season still incredibly snowy and also incredibly cold. We do have more alert days in effect. This is for Saturday and Sunday due to bitter cold wind chills. They'll likely remain below zero for the entire weekend and overnight lows potentially in the negative double digits. So we've got some bitter cold Arctic temperatures this weekend. So make sure you find ways to stay warm and take extra precautions. So I mentioned earlier that there's some changes in the weather pattern, especially for Friday, that we're seeing some less snowfall. And I want to point to this right here. So there's that front, and you see this ball of low pressure. That is shifting its way south of us. That is what we were watching out for. And since that's passing south, our snowfall totals for Friday cutting down tremendously. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked. This will be a little, if any, in terms of any notable snowfall on Friday, but we're going to wait for some more data to come in before we start putting out some numbers here. Regardless, lake effect fizzles out today. It's pretty quiet. We have clouds. We have breezy conditions. Wind chills will remain in the teens for much of the day today. And again, as we head into Friday, especially after sunset, is when that snowfall really begins to move in. And for now, again, the snow is turning less impactful with the latest data coming in this morning. We could be expecting some lake effect on the backside of it Saturday. We'll see how that trends. And then, of course, more importantly, is throughout the weekend is that bitter cold temperature. Wind chills in the negatives all weekend long, highs only in the single digits. So another cold weekend in store, Gary.
The good news, it's February.
Yes.
Spring is around the corner.
Only a few more weeks, Gary.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Ice dams, though, are a concern around the state as this cold weather continues. This is a look at ice dams buildup on area roofs in Rochester. And this raises risks of leaks, mold, and damage inside the buildings. Well, be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Good morning once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. Meteorologist Eric Gage joins us over in the Weather Center. And Eric, everyone waking up to a bit of snow this morning.
Yeah, enough to coat some surfaces, an inch or two, some spots maybe even 3, but nonetheless, it's some fluffy snow this morning. In fact, we look at the radar and we can see that some of it is still falling in sections of the area. It is winding down, though, as that front which provided us with the movement in the atmosphere to produce it is starting to shift its way more and more eastward. So the snowfall activity a bit less than what we saw, say, an hour or two ago. But those of you in the southern portion of Otsego County, there's the trailing edge of that cold front there. We saw a few flurries in Utica. In fact, we're seeing them fall right now. Not sure if they're falling from the roof of the, actually, no, I take that back. I can see some of that snow still falling in the street lamps there. But either way, this morning, the few lingering flurries today, not really having that much of an impact on your morning commute. As you can see here, snowfall, not nearly as impactful. The roadways are improving, and temperatures, though, in the teens, with wind chills in the single digits. So with that in mind, the wind at least the wind chills are definitely the most notable thing you're waking up to this morning. Of course, on top of that, you're going to want to budget a few extra minutes brushing off that fluffy snow on your car. Not a whole lot, because it was pretty easy to brush off myself. And then following that, this afternoon, the snowfall pretty much non-existent. And we enter a pretty quiet stretch of weather with more snow on the way Friday, but the trends have been shifting more toward a less snowy situation. We'll be diving into that chance, as well as, of course, that all-important Arctic weekend forecast coming up shortly. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump has long pushed the repeated
Storm Tracker 2 team, where we track storms. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Our photo of the day today brings us up into the Adirondacks and a great shot of Gore Mountain, the snowmaking at Gore Mountain, and overall the beautiful winter scene here in the Adirondacks with the blue skies that have been all too elusive here locally. And my goodness, what a shot this is. You've got the snowy peaks out in the distance there, the snowmaking, of course, producing that low-lying cloud cover there. Snow-covered trees, and just overall a beautiful scene sent in by a frequent submitter, John. And again, one of the great things about this area is that this is in our backyard, only a couple-hour drive and to the High Peaks area, and just you get to see scenes like this. And the fact that, you know, you can enjoy summertime, you can enjoy the fall scenery, and then head up into the mountains and do some skiing, all in, again, our own backyard. So, despite any opinions of the state itself, we live in a beautiful area, and an amazing shot here sent in, again, by John. So, WKTV.com/weather/pics is the place to go to submit your photo of the day. Of course, it is brought to you every morning by GPO Federal Credit Union. Gary?
We love New York.
It is a gorgeous state, Gary.
That's for sure, Eric. Thanks. Governor Hochul has announced a proposal to bring
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. On this Wednesday, happy hump day. Today we are tracking some lingering snowfall, which brought us about an inch or two in some spots, maybe 3, of fluffy snow. Now, as we look at the radar and satellite, the driver of the system, which is that cold front you can see there with that pink and purple line, is continuing to move its way eastward. So in the process, the snowfall itself is gradually winding down this morning, less of an impact compared to earlier today. But nonetheless, we are still seeing a few light snow showers early today, and again, that will be tapering off as we head throughout the morning. So by the afternoon, when things begin to quiet down through the remainder of the work week, we can finally get to talk a bit more about that season snowfall total, which currently is at 95.7 inches, which is 0.2 inches above our typical season snowfall. So we are already above that. And so 35.9 inches above average for this time of the year, which normally we're sitting at nearly 60 inches. And there is even more winter on the way. I can't say exactly how much more snow we'll be seeing this season, but nonetheless, I doubt that it's going to suddenly end with the snap of a finger. But something that isn't going to be ending too is that cold. We're seeing the arrival of an Arctic front arriving again this weekend. So Saturday and Sunday are alert days. Temperatures only in the single digits, wind chills in the negatives all weekend long. So along with the strong winds, it's bitterly cold. So plan accordingly. Make sure, of course, you're bundled up if you head outside, your kids are, and of course, most importantly, those pets remain indoors. So the bigger picture shows a couple changes to our forecast toward the end of the week. We mentioned the possibility of accumulating snow Friday, Now, for one, it's trending later in the day Friday. We're thinking closer to the evening. And two, the heaviest of the snow is getting launched south, the jet stream pushing a bit more to a south ear, which means that the amount of snow is also decreasing. So a later arrival time and the snowfall totals on the lower side are the latest trends in that snowfall later this week. So when it comes to snowfall, at least today, you can see here that snow begins to taper off, that lake effect ends, and it's pretty quiet with lingering clouds, a few glimpses of sunshine, and just overall wind chills in the teens for the next few days with quiet but cloudy weather. Then, of course, Friday begins to arrive. That snowfall moves in, likely after sunset. There could be some lingering lake effects Saturday morning. We'll, of course, wait for more high-resolution data to come in before we start pinpointing where that will be falling. But nonetheless, the weekend is going to be bitterly cold with temperatures in the single digits and wind chills in the negatives all weekend long. We'll be right back.
Gay is joining us now, and Eric, the snow has stopped from overnight. A very nice light snow it was.
Yes, and for the most part of our area, in fact, we're seeing some sunshine as well, so we have some nice scenes there. A look at the radar. We do have some lingering lake effect as to be expected with these westerly winds. Until we get rid of this northwesterly wind, lake effect will always be a factor here, even if weather or anything like that appears to be relatively quiet. So especially those of you in farther western portions of Oneida County, this type of setup will always bring you at least some lake effect, especially when temperatures are at this range and we still have some slightly warmer lake waters. But at least with all that Arctic air, those temperatures in the Great Lakes are continuing to fall. We take a live view in Rome right now where the snow is still falling. I wouldn't say anything notable right now. But you look at a different shot here in Oneonta. We have some blue skies peeking out here. The clouds whisking away faster than we thought they were today. So it's basically a tale of different areas. If you live just off of Lake Ontario, you've got snow, you've got clouds. Everywhere else, you have at least some faded sunshine, and even a few glimpses of it. But either way, temperatures this morning, we're in the teens. This afternoon, we are in the 20s, but wind chills still remain a factor here. They haven't really warmed up all too much. We mentioned that today. That'd be a factor. So again, today, highs are in the 20s, wind chills in the upper single digits to low teens. Same thing tomorrow. We are expecting a warmer day for Friday in the mid-20s like this, but minus the wind chill. However, we're tracking some snowfall and an Arctic blast this weekend. The latest trends on that snow and our initial thoughts regarding accumulation straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. State police have released the name of the teen.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Today we are tracking a few lingering snow showers across portions of central New York. On the radar and satellite right here, we see the passage of a cold front that moved through overnight, but that lingering northwesterly wind is producing some still stubborn lake effect right off of Lake Ontario. So in western Oneida County, going as far as, say, Rome, seeing some of that snowfall. It's not a lot, but it's nuisance snow this time of year. Now, while weather will quiet down this evening and especially over the next couple of days, we're tracking our next major weather maker, which will be following a cold front Friday. Of course, that'll bring some snowfall, but more importantly, following it, we've got some bitter cold wind chills. Likely much of the weekend we'll spend those wind chills below zero. Several degrees, in fact, negative double digits expected below zero Saturday night, along with windy conditions. In fact, you see these wind chills here. This is what I mean. By Sunday morning, we've got widespread wind chills between minus 25, maybe as low as minus 35, enough to warrant potentially another round of some extreme cold warnings. I'll wait for what the Weather Service says, but at least for now, we've got some bitter cold weather on tap throughout the weekend. Now, what drives this cold air in? Well, we're tracking a cold front. Now, earlier this week, we mentioned a Clipper system that could be producing some measurable snowfall heading into Friday. But there are a few things that have changed with the latest data that just came in this morning. So it is trending later. You can see here Friday, 8 a.m., the snow is still out to our west. But also look at this ball of energy here. This is that center area of low pressure, or the Clipper system itself, gliding along the jet stream a bit faster, meaning it's going to slingshot outside of central New York, and we're just going to get the brunt of the cold front itself, which means maybe a brief round of some heavy snow overnight Saturday night, Friday night into Saturday morning. So that, of course, will bring some colder temperatures, but more importantly, that snowfall will be less significant, but nonetheless, it still could have some impacts overnight. We're thinking at least initial calls, 1 to 3 inches for a lot of us, with 3 to 6 in the hills up here due to upsloping in the hills just to the east of I-81 up here. And then in the hills of Madison County heading south of Syracuse due to the trailing lake effect. I think the lake effect direction, we more in this zone right here. Less of a westerly flow, more of a north-northwesterly flow, keeping a lot of the brunt of that snowfall to our south and west. So your 7-day forecast, following that snowfall Friday night into Saturday, we've got that cool down on the way. And again, due to those bitter cold, downright Arctic wind chills, both Saturday and Sunday are alert days. Just make sure you're aware of the cold weather. Bundle up if you're making any plans this weekend, and of course, most importantly, keep those pets inside.
Bundle up might be an understatement.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Eric, thanks. Well, President Trump is doubling. Richard Engel reporting from Iran today. Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now. And Eric, as we mentioned, the snow from this morning quieted, but there might be some on the way, right? Those bands?
Yeah, some very limited snowfall, which to be expected anytime we get that wind off of Lake Ontario. In the meantime, we've been doing some math here. So this morning we officially picked up from our own meteorologist James DeFazio here 1.7 inches, the official measurement in Utica, bringing our total to 97.4. Our normal on this day is 61.4, so we are sitting at a comfortable 36 inches above normal here in the Utica area. Obviously, as you head in different areas in central New York, we're going to see some much higher numbers. In fact, already over the 100 mark as you head, say, out toward Marcy or even up the closer you get to Tug Hill, which some of those spots up there reporting as high as 200 inches already. So the radar right now, as I mentioned, still dealing with some lingering snowfall. This is, again, to be expected with these westerly winds. But again, as the temperatures climb, this lake effect is going to start fizzling out a little bit. We're already seeing the cutoff point right there. That's what we're expecting to take place. But still, this nuisance snowfall producing some nuisance snowfall in Rome right now, with some sunshine peeking out in other spots. There's a live look at Oneonta at this hour. So we look ahead to today. Our highs are in the mid-20s right now, officially at 21 in Rome, 23 Hamilton. The wind chills, however, are still very cold, so feels like conditions are a lot colder right now due to that wind so far today. So on paper, our temperatures go back down into the teens tonight. Tomorrow, it's another breezy day with still mainly quiet weather. We're tracking maybe some minor snow chances early Thursday, but it appears to be the outlier. Then we have a better shot for maybe some accumulating snow Friday night. We'll have the latest on the trend of that, plus how this weekend's looking up in terms of that Arctic wind chill straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Governor Hochul has announced a proposal to try to bring down...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Although we are seeing some partial clearing, even some drying up conditions in sections of the area, I just saw in the tower cam, we do have some snowfall taking place in, again, parts of New York State. We zoom in here. It's a very narrow corridor of lake effect still coming off of Lake Ontario. It is progressively weakening as temperatures climb. The lake effect gets weaker and weaker, and that'll be the case as we head throughout the day today. But nonetheless, We're still going to be experiencing a few light snow showers and flurries. I wouldn't say anything measurable, but enough to remind us that it is still early February. Another reminder that it's still early February. Alert days Saturday and Sunday due to bitter cold wind chills. Now, if it was cold by itself, temperatures in the single digits, we get that here in central New York. We don't warrant alert days for that. We do warrant alert days when the wind chills themselves, due to strong winds, plummet into the negative double digits, meaning that frostbite could happen in the matter of minutes. Anytime that happens, we feel it's justified to make sure you guys are aware of potential impacts this weekend. You can see here the feels-like temperature heading into Saturday night to Sunday morning. If you're heading out early in the day, will be bitterly cold. We're talking minus 20 to minus 30 degree wind chills. The European model, which is showing right here, is a little bit colder. It does have a slight cold bias, but nonetheless, the difference between minus 20 and minus 30, maybe the exact timing of frostbite you get, but nonetheless, it is still very cold. Now, what is going to be driving in this cold weather is what's approaching us heading into Friday. We have a Clipper system moving in. Now, the changes in the forecast compared to what we were telling you yesterday is that this actual Clipper system itself is going to be slingshotting its way south of our area, meaning that we're really only going to get the cold front of this system, which means two things. For one, it means that the snowfall is arriving later, and although we're going to see maybe a brief run of some heavier snowfall, it's not going to last that long. And then secondly, the amount of snow we'll see will also not be as high. So that's the latest trends based off of this morning's data, which is continuing to be proven based off of the model data I've seen in the last couple of minutes. So on our Skycast today, we are still tracking mostly cloudy skies. Obviously, our model here not showing too much in terms of sunshine, which is taking place in a lot of spots, especially south of Utica in the southern valleys. But I want to focus more on what takes place Friday. You can see here cloudy skies, and eventually we've got that widespread snow moving its way in the overnight into early Saturday morning. So that's the arrival time of it. And the front itself moves through overnight, so just watch out for some snow-covered surfaces early Saturday, as that will likely accumulate mainly 1 to 3 inches in locations across the Mohawk Valley and 3 to 6 inches south of Syracuse and in the western sides of the Tug Hill heading up toward Jefferson County. Then the weekend itself is going to be pretty cold. Nonetheless, wind chills in the negatives all weekend long. Slightly warming up by next week, though, and signs point to a maybe slightly above average later half of February. But we just got to get to this cold, Gary. It's just still lingering.
It just keeps going.
Yep.
Eric, thanks. Investigators down in Florida say a 19-year-old man from Nebraska is facing multiple...
Bill Curtis, I don't think it's ever too soon to let everybody know that we've got some cold weather coming in this weekend, and everyone's got to be ready for it.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this a lot this winter, and I know some people are just sick of hearing about it, but we're going to be doing this again. We've got some very cold weather. I think it's going to be colder this weekend than it has been the previous cold snap. So some pretty serious levels of cold on the way. Single-digit high temperatures, wind chills 20 to 30 below zero, both Saturday and Sunday. There's going to be some wind to go along with this, too. So that's just something to keep in mind. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. There's a couple of flurries out there, especially west of Utica. This activity will be very, very light. I'm not expecting much here. Current temperature 17 degrees. It feels like 10. Do have a light breeze out there. Our weather headlines: flurries continue tonight. An Arctic front arrives Friday. The weather does look pretty quiet tomorrow. The next round of snow looks to be Friday evening, and that will set the stage for some very cold weather here Saturday and Sunday. And a few light snow showers this evening. We're cold, temperatures in the single digits. Tracking that Arctic front Friday and the cold weather to follow. We've got to look at the wind chills over the weekend. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. For the last few months, we've...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. The weather looking pretty quiet this evening. Just a few flurries in the air. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. Traffic is moving smooth. Roads are generally wet. Some light snow on some of the side roads, not a big deal. The light snow is going to continue tonight. Very little accumulation is expected. We're seeing just very, very light lake effect snow. It's been ongoing throughout the course of the day. Actually started last night and it continues this evening, but it does come to an end as we head into tomorrow. Went through some of the old weather records, and the coldest temperatures that have been recorded have been in the month of February. In fact, the New York State record is 52 below zero. That happened twice, two different spots, but both happened in February. Stillwater Reservoir and Old Fort, so not far from each other, 52 below zero. In Stillwater Reservoir, that was February 9th, 1934. In Old Forge, February 18th, 1979, that late in February. So we can get some very cold weather in February. I'm not expecting the state record to be broken over the weekend, but we will get some very, very cold temperatures. By the way, mercury freezes at 40 below zero. So in order to get these readings, you have to use a different type of thermometer, one that doesn't use liquid. It's called an aneroid barometer. Utica, looking at a snow total to date of 97.4 inches. We picked up 1.5 inches of snow last night. We're running 36 inches above average. That is 3 feet above average. We're already above the average for the whole year. So if we didn't get any snow from here on out, we would still be very close to average for the season. But of course, that's not going to be the case. Talking about very cold wind chills over the weekend, we're thinking it's going to be 10, 15, 20 below zero during the day Saturday, and then about 20 to 30 below zero Saturday night. Gusty winds, 30 to 40 miles an hour throughout the day. And it's going to stay frigid here Sunday. A great weekend to stay home, hibernate. Wind chills will be well below zero throughout Sunday afternoon. Flurries come to an end tonight. The weather stays quiet in the short term, and then we're tracking an Arctic front for late Friday. Cloudy skies tonight. Flurries come to an end. Overnight lows will be in the single digits. Cloudy skies Thursday throughout the day. High temperatures in the low 20s. The weather changes Friday. We start out cloudy in the morning. Late in the day, some light snow will break out from the west, and a lot of this snow will be arriving Friday night. We'll pick up a fluffy inch or two of snowfall, about 2 to 4 inches of snow Friday night and into early Saturday across most of central New York. Tonight, flurries, we're down to 2 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 23. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. And very cold over the weekend, highs in the single digits, overnight lows well below zero. Light snow returns Monday and Tuesday. We start to warm up next week. We're back in the mid-20s Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Have you or someone you love been diagnosed with
Making an alert days, as a matter of fact, for Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's going to be frigid cold. We're looking at wind chills 20 to 30 below zero during the day. So this is going to be pretty serious cold, even colder than some of the cold days we've experienced so far this winter. Hopefully this will be the end of the worst of it. But again, we still have a long way to go. Again, that's for Saturday and Sunday. When this transition happens, it will bring some snow to the area on Friday. A couple of flurries out there this evening. We'll have a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Little activity is expected. Light accumulation tonight. Just a fluffy inch or two, especially west of Utica. 17 degrees is the current temperature. It's cloudy. And heading into tonight, again, temperatures will fall into the single digits. Flurries continue overnight. Some light snow showers. That Arctic front arrives Friday. That'll bring us steady snow. And most areas pick up at least 2 or 3 inches of snow from that. And then the frigid weather follows as we head into the weekend. Flurries this evening, temperatures will drop into the single digits. So a cold night ahead. We are tracking that big drop in temperature. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. For the last few months,
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. A couple of flurries out there tonight. Otherwise, it's a pretty quiet night. These flurries are working in off of Lake Ontario. It's been the story all day long. These light flurries continue. By the way, I went through some of the temperature records here, and I thought this was interesting to talk about. The state record, the lowest temperature recorded in New York State, happened 2 times, and both in the month of February. And both in the same county, Herkimer County, the northern part of the county. Stillwater Reservoir, 52 below zero, was recorded on February 9th, 1934. Old Forge, 52 below zero, February 18th, 1979, that late in February. Yes, February could see the coldest weather of the whole year. These temperature records, by the way, are very much safe heading into the weekend. We are talking about some cold weather, but it's not going to be that cold. And by the way, mercury thermometers freeze at 40 below zero, so you need a different type of thermometer called an aneroid thermometer, something that uses the contraction of metal to measure temperature. Measuring snowfall for Utica, 97.4 inches to date, 3 feet above average. We picked up 1.5 inches of snow last night. It's going to be bone-chilling cold throughout the whole weekend. Wind chills will be 10 to 20 below zero during the day Saturday, 20 to 30 below zero, in some cases even colder Saturday night, and generally 10 to 20 below zero on Sunday. So good night, good weekend to hibernate. Some very, very cold weather on the way. Weather looks pretty quiet until the big changes happen. We're going to be tracking an Arctic front that works in from the west. It's cloudy tonight, a couple of flurries out there. Temperatures drop into the single digits. Tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures climb into the low 20s. Tomorrow's night, the weather remains mostly cloudy skies on Friday. It's not until late Friday that the front approaches from the west and we start to see some light snow break out late in the day. We do pick up some snow Friday night, thinking a general 1 to 3 inches of snow, steadier amounts 2 to 4 inches from Utica and points north and west, and then lesser amounts as you head east. It's very fluffy snow, and it's not something you're going to want to shovel Saturday morning, not because it's heavy, just because it's going to be really cold and windy. If you do have any flexibility, I would wait until Monday. The weather does look dry, and it's a lot less cold. Flurries tonight down to 2. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the low 20s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cloudy skies, some snow showers arrive late Friday. The snow becomes steadier Friday night. Bone-chilling cold over the weekend. Light snow continues Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures warm up into the mid-20s as we head into the middle of next week. We'll be right back.